This is Onion Head Andrew. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to go over how to make capacitance and inductance across your body. Okay, so what you're going to need for inductance is wire, just wire like this. This is from an old battery cable, and I just twisted with a drill. You don't have to twist it with the drill. I twist it with the drill to make it work better. It adds compression, squeezes the copper. When the copper is squeezed, it projects a stronger inductance that's healthier too. Here is some aluminum foil, right? Here's some aluminum tape. Aluminum tape works. Here is some saran wrap or some plastic wrap. The plastic wrap and the saran wrap, or the plastic wrap and the aluminum foil in layers, creates a capacitor. The twisted wire creates it doesn't have to be twisted, it's just better if it's twisted. The coiled wire, that's what coiled means. Coiled like a spring, creates an inductance field. Okay, so right now, this just coiled wire right here is producing a large inductance field. Okay, just from the atmospheric energies. As this gets hit with or interacts with other frequencies in the air, say the router right there, then it's going to produce even more of an inductance field. And the inductance field is magnetic. Okay, so that's what I mean by coiled wire. You see that lump, this mass here? That's all an inductance field. Sometimes what you'll recognize is, no, I didn't need capacitance in that area. I needed inductance. Okay? So, again, all inductance is coiled wire. Okay? So, let's say that weapon system that I'm feeling interact with my head got worse with capacitance. Well, that would mean something very specific. So I put the coil under that area, right, and see if it relieves the symptoms, and I'll explain that in a second. And it does. So it was inductance I needed in that area. I needed a magnetic field to suck up or to neutralize an electrical charge, a static charge that was being utilized in that area. Okay, so it's all about doing this in real time and figuring this out in real time, what you really need. What this is this is wire and the layers of capacitance. So what that does is it brings it back and forth, the electrical charge to magnetic charge, the electrical charge to magnetic charge, until it's to null or until it's void, until there's no longer a charge. So if you combine this copper coil with this aluminum tape and this plastic wrap, what you get is something that does both. A inductor and capacitor contained within the same object. That will take the energies being shot at you or around you or near you, even if you're not targeted, you're still being bombarded with energy, and it will bring it in to neutral. So back to this coil, right? So the coil gave me some relief. So maybe I should speed up what the coil is doing by adding capacitance to it, because that's what it's going to do. Remember, the electrical field, when it interacts with this. So if there was imagine a ray hitting this array or a cone hitting this coil with static electricity, and there are weapon systems that can do that. When that static electricity interacts with this coil, it's going to turn it into a magnetic field. Okay? And likewise, when a magnetic field interacts with this coil that I just made, or this one that I had made previously, it's going to turn it into a electrical charge held within the capacitor itself. So this makes a magnetic field outwards, and the magnetic field goes like this, like that from all directions. It looks like a donut, and this would be the inner ring of the donut. This brings the magnetic field into it, and there's an electrical charge held between each layer of the capacitor. The more layers you have, the more tightly pressed they are together, the better the capacitor works. The more coils of wire, the more wire you have, the more you have it coiled, the better you have it uniform, that coil, right? The better the inductance field, the stronger the inductance field is going to be. So again, we can combine these two ideas, okay? This is uninsulated, right? So, and I know this has already got the shape I want, so the first layer for this, because this is uninsulated, this is already conductive, is not going to be aluminum. It's going to be plastic. So that's where we're going to start there. Pull that tight. Okay, that's all tight. It's gonna be tighter. But that's where the aluminum tape comes in. I'm gonna use this one for speed.
This size, it's more appropriate, the smaller size.
And we always start on the outside because it's the easiest. I twisted this wire with a big drill. You don't need to twist the wire. It's just twisting it makes this, especially when you layer wire with capacitance, it makes it work more effectively. So if you can do it, if you can't, just try it without it first, and then later on try to figure out how you can add that capacity to.
Not in my drills, you can get cheap ones at yard sales. It's not the end of summer here, but use thrift shops, stuff like that.
You can see there's still a bunch of plastic exposed here on the bottom, so I got to put one more layer of tape because we want the plastic to be completely cut off. All we want to be able to touch from layer to layer is whatever item we're putting down, because that's actually, that layering process is what's giving us the electrical effect throughout this whole thing. And if you have see, we already have an inductance field in that wire, but if we don't have the capacitor layers separated correctly, then we're going to have, it's not going to be able to oscillate between the magnetic and dielectric as readily as it should. So meaning that the energies won't go to voidance or null or neutral as quick as they should. Just interesting, this physics model. I've been using this physics model now for better part of 3 years, 4 years, something like that. But I've really only understood it well enough. I figured it out on my own using the water scale, alkaline and acidity, by accident. But using it in the greater context for the last 3 years, I've only really had aptitude at it for the last year, give or take. And then I had to research, how electricity, how to make electrical components, basically. How people utilize this physics to make their reality different. And for the last 6 months or so, I've really been able to figure it out. And all it did was just apply, all it took was applying this knowledge over and over and over, and doing it in scenarios you would never think that physics would play a part. And eventually what you find is that a lot of reality that's been kept a mystery. It's not that there's not that much to it. It's just that it's following these principles. Like like um like how are they controlling the weather? If you understand how are they, the world monarch people, if you understand that the physics, that there's two fundamental forces always of dielectricity and magnetism, then it becomes like, well, how are they oscillating? And once you figure out how these energies are oscillating, then you figure out the system involved and what the system's really doing. So, for example, weather weapons, the HARP station, all that stuff, the what do they call that? Ionospheric heaters. What it's doing more or less is it's causing a low pressure system wherever the people that have the control of the weapon want it to be. And the low pressure system is in turn followed by a very, well, that's not true. It's creating a high pressure system. And the high pressure system is in turn followed by a low pressure system with magnetic particles. So you create this high pressure system, you get the high pressure system to do what it does, which is basically push itself outwards. And when it pushes itself outwards, the magnetic particles are released in heavy. And those magnetic particles end up causing the hurricanes, the tsunamis. Well, I don't know about tsunamis. There's other ways to do that. But basically the big weather events, tornadoes, that's what I was thinking of. Plastic down. And what you've got there is an oscillation of high and low pressure. And that high and low pressure is to say high pressure is in the dielectric and low pressure is in the magnetic. So we really are, at the end of the day, dealing with pressure modalities. Just like, that's a Ken Wheeler phrase. Ken Wheeler is Theoria Aposphia on YouTube. He wrote a book, it's called Unlocking the Hidden Mysteries of Magnetism, or The Secrets of Magnetism. If you just put in Ken Wheeler and magnetism PDF, it'll pop up. It's on Free Internet Archive.org or whatever that is. Free Internet, yeah, can't remember, but just put it in, and it'll pop right up. And when it pops up, you'll see, you can look through the book, and you can learn exactly what these shapes are. It's really fascinating stuff. Once you understand the shapes of magnetism and dielectricity, then you can really see how dielectric energies or fields are stability, or which is to say high pressure, and magnetic fields are low pressure. And the pressure modalities are what's high pressure, what's low pressure. High pressure is going to move into low pressure is going to move into high pressure. And they're going to do it from two different ways. High pressure moves into low pressure through expansion, and low pressure moves into high pressure through contraction. Compression and tension. And that's what I was saying earlier, is once you understand the better model of physics, really the only model of physics, it's just the atomic one is incomplete. It's just so incomplete. And I'm not going to sit here and argue about, not that anyone's here, I'd be talking to myself, but I do often, about these things. With somebody that believes in Newtonian, Einsteinian physics. Because you don't need to. This is a self-evident truth. Newtonian, Einsteinian physics don't have these things explained what I'm talking about. They make up crazy math formulas to explain them and go, oh, you're not a mathematician, so you wouldn't know. It's like, no, the mathematicians, after they explain their big formulas, say right there in the same phrase, but we don't know. This is a guess. This is based off of empirical data we have. And it's like, okay, so you got data, good on you, but you've applied that data completely wrong, using assumptions that should never be there. And you can see this most clearly in the whole dark matter, dark energy conversation. That's just a bunch of nonsense. And a child could tell you that's nonsense if you just try to explain it to them. And it's like, well, that's a fallacy because children aren't smart and they don't know. Well, not smart, but don't know, and they need to be taught. There was a time when you didn't know anything. It's like, okay, yes, but the people that are creating these models are telling you that they don't understand how they work. Okay? And if you can't explain something simply, then you really don't understand it. And at the end of the day, it's a theory. Okay? The Einsteinian physics is a theory. What I'm telling you right now is a theory. What theory holds more water? Right? Our society was literally built upon the etheric model of physics. And then it was hidden from you. Einsteinian physics has kept us in a dead end for the last 70 years. And it's designed that way to do it. Meanwhile, the military and the oligarchy of the world develop all the technology to do all the crazy things that they're doing with. I mean, that's exactly what's happened. So anyways, we got our next layer of aluminum foil down, and I can't feel any plastic, and it's nice and it's compressed. That's why I'm squeezing it, keeping it all tight together. So now we're going to put our next layer of saran wrap, plastic wrap down. The distance between the layers that gives us the electrical charge, so we want it nice and tight together. The electrical charge that the capacitor can hold, again, is what takes away the magnetic effect that the inductor is providing. So basically, we've got a string, and the string is, this is plucking the string ever so slightly. Okay, and that's what we want. We want it to pluck the string at a high intensity, but very, very lightly, because that string that's plucking is ultimately the energy for our body. Okay, when directed energy weapons hit you, it's like it's grabbing the string and pulling it as hard as it can, trying to break the string. That's the whole point of the nanoparticles, nanomachinery in the food, the air, and the water. It's to kill people. It's to kill you. And they're not going to, as of right now, they can't do it out in the open. Well, in some places they can, like Palestine or Yemen, or name your war zone. But in the rest of the area, they need these nanoparticles and nanomachinery and smart dust and smart filaments and all that poison, heavy metals to do this. To pull that string and try to break it. Okay, so when we're wearing things like this, when they go to pull the string and break it, it removes the string from their control, and it just slightly plays it. Ding, 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 in a nice, harmonious way. And actually wearing these items, regardless of being a targeted survivor or not, is good for your health. Wearing twisted wire put into a coil with a capacitor over it is good for anyone at any time. Whoever wants, you take this idea and you teach people it and you sell it, you literally print money. You can literally print money with this idea. Okay, I can't believe no one else has figured this out. I'm sure other people have. I mean, orgone energy really is the same thing that we're doing right now. This is just far easier. Anyone can do it any time. And actually, we can create more of a charge, more powerful items doing it the way I'm doing it than orgone. But if we mix the two ideas, we get the most effect. And that's hopefully someone does eventually see this and already have a background with orgone, and you mix the ideas, making these inductance and capacitance inside those resin layers. Yeah, you can make yourself an incredibly powerful orgone. And I'm sure people already have. Now that I say it out loud, I know people already have. I'm not the first person to understand theory physics. It's been literally theory physics, goes back to the ancients, they understood it, like Greeks and Romans and all that. I'm sure it goes back through, basically, just like Babylonians and all that, actually pretty important history. Because, those pyramids and all that, if you sit here and think about it long enough, what we talked about today, and how, and then specialize the pyramids, getting more on the ground, that is a phenomenon, then you can probably figure out how it did. And I think that's how a lot of theories come to be. Because people learn real physics and then look at it and go, well, I did this, and I can potentially make that. But I have other theories. It does, either way though, the point I'm making is that mysteries of the world are yours somehow. The theory of physics model, whole world of theories. Absolutely, a gift from God. And only by the grace of God have I learned to truly understand it. God doesn't want you to understand it, if you're not in the right place, you won't understand it. So God knows I try to explain this to lots of people that need this information, but just can't take it for whatever reason. They need to, I don't know, they don't really, either way I can write them, know the answers, So that's something beyond me. And in general, I learned this from beyond. This came to me through food. I was eating orange peels at first, or lemon peels, I can't remember. But either way, quickly after that was grapefruit peels. And learning that how those charges were so powerful. The dielectric charges in, I think, grapefruit peel is so incredibly powerful. It's unbelievable, really. Okay, so I'm going to plastic wrap. If I didn't have plastic wrap, I could use lots of other things. I could use paper, like I was saying earlier, wood, anything that insulates. As you could see in this application, wood wouldn't really work. I'd have to totally redesign the idea. What's great about doing it like this is it's so easy. We can make an item that will improve your health, that if modern medicine marketed to you would cost your insurance tens of thousands of dollars at least, tens of thousands of dollars more likely. Okay, so that's another layer. So here we go. Put another layer of aluminum tape down. Foil tape. There's also a name for it. Okay, and we don't have to merge capacitance and inductance either, like we're doing right now. This is just the best design right now, or the best idea right now. Okay, here's another way you can make a capacitor. Okay, you take a thing of aluminum foil, you roll it out. This is going to be our first layer. Oh, that's really bad. I want that end to be square mostly. Okay. And since I know that this roll is about the same length or width as the aluminum foil, this plastic wrap's about the same. What I'm going to do to make sure that the plastic wrap covers it, because that's the key part, is I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it back, every layer about the same. Actually, you know what? A little bit farther. I'm going to fold that over, so that's now going to be the back. Make sure my table's clean. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to take this plastic wrap, and I'm going to put it right over the top. Do I have to fold that back more? Nope, it covers both sides. I'll leave a little bit extra on the end. I'm going to fold this over. Okay. Fold that side over. All right, and that's our first layer of plastic wrap and aluminum foil. Now I'm going to take do the same thing again and again and again and again. So anyone, there's no excuses. Anyone can do this. Almost anyone can do this, I should say. And said we take the actually, you know what? Let's wait on that a second and let's make sure, because I just thought we're gonna have some excess aluminum on the ends that are gonna keep folding over. So let's make sure that backside's insulated also, at least for this first layer. We want the excess plastic wrap to be folded over. Pretty much always, because we want to keep that insulation real nice and perfect. The capacitance that we're building is going to be directly tied to keeping those insulative and conductive layers separate. The aluminum foil is the conductive, and the insulative, of course, is the plastic wrap. The dielectric charge, or the capacitance, is going to be held in those layers. Again, that's the electrical field being converted, the magnetic field being converted to an electrical. Because really the magnetic and the electrical fields are the same thing. The same energy behind it. It's just one's instability and the other one's not. One's in a radiative state and the other one's not. And the magnetic energy is the one that's in a radiative state, which is to say a state of falling apart, state of explosion, so to speak. Okay. Make all this plastic wrap from the front to the back. So again, we don't want anything leaking through. Any energies. And I think that doesn't really matter. I think this side, this side's going to be the front. So we got our next layer of aluminum already ready. All ready to go. Put that back. You could cut it too. Cutting it would be better than folding it back. And keep the uniformness of the layers. our next layer. With that plastic wrap covering both ends. It's critical that we keep them isolated from each other. Over. As long as we're making it over the edges everywhere, then when we go to duct tape this all in place, it'll be fine. And I won't need to do the layer on the back. That's 5 layers. 5 layers is good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to duct tape it all in place. I'm going to start with this edge because I know it's vulnerable. Now I'm going to do the corners. Okay, we're good. Where's that? Is it Alright, and there you go. There's your cheapest capacitor money could buy. And if I had more duct tape, I'd finish this and make this all surfaced. Alright, since I don't, I have some other tape. I'm going to use the other tape. It's a masking tape or something. Use what you got when you can. Alright, there we go. So now you've got this capacitor, and you got a coil of wire here. You would wear this coil of wire around you. Say like, here, I'll just do it real quick. wear this coil like so. It can be insulated or uninsulated. It does not matter. The only thing that it does matter, actually, the less insulated it is, the more effect you're gonna get with the induction. Did I say that right? The less insulated it is, the more magnetic induction you're gonna get in your body. The more insulated it is, the less you're gonna get. So just think about that. So here I got this wrapped up around. You don't have to use this wire. You can use a nice soft wire. Doesn't matter. But you would wrap it around your body where you need it, right, where you're experiencing these effects. And then you would say that much right here, like that. And then you would cut it and cut this capacitor and tape it in your arm underneath your sleeve in a way where you can function. Okay? So that's just a quick mock-up. That's not actually how you have to do it. It's just where you need it. This is another type of wire you can use. It's insulated. Like I said, you can use any wire you want as long as it's in a coil like this or like the wrap I just showed you. It doesn't have to be a perfect coil. I use this for a specific thing. But once it's in a coil, you want to cover that, like I said, with the capacitor, with the capacitance. Okay? And you can, now that I've made this mat, I can make these any size. Here's one that's smaller, right? Like for something like this. It almost covers it. Yeah, these ones are the same size. These two in conjunction would cover it. Like that. If I wanted to have this covered. But sometimes I don't want to have the coil wire covered that's on me. But anyways, you get an idea. This was actually formed with tin tape like I showed earlier. And then this was the other style. And this was the style where you put the wire in the center and then wrap the layers over it. So we've got two different styles here. One with the big capacitor mat, one with the capacitor contained over the wire itself. So there you go. That's how you demagnetize your body. You build these things and you put them in different areas, depending for different effects, depending. All right, thank you very much for your time. May God have mercy on us. And may God bless us.